to be happening. Okay, so are you able to see me? It says my internet connection is unstable, so hopefully we'll be okay. It's this NBN that we have here. It's really not good. We're going to be discussing fears today, but before we even get into fears, there's just something that I feel that I need to say, and this is it came up yesterday for me, yesterday afternoon as well as this morning, was the fact that I want you to know that none of you are broken. None of you need to be fixed in any way. And when going through the posts and things like that, I see a lot of stuff coming up for many of the women that are in the group. And I want every single one to know that every single thing that has happened in your past was meant to have happened. It may not sound nice, and some of the things may have been awful, but those events, those experiences are what's created you, the amazing, incredible human being today. So we don't want to discount any of that stuff, all right? There's stuff that we want to pay less value to or less attention to, and other stuff that we want to give, more attention to. But the thing is, that stuff has created the whole of you as you are today. You would not be the human being that you are today. So it served its purpose to get you where you are. But now we're entering a new chapter and we can move forward, because ultimately this is about us being client attractive. We're all in business and we all want to grow our businesses. And that means we need clients. We need to make sales. We want our businesses to grow. But how do we grow our business if we don't quite know who we are, what our identities are, where our strengths lie, what our values are? Because if we don't know that, we'll fall for anything. We'll take on any client. We'll feel desperate. We'll tend to want to go into and sign contracts that may not necessarily be in alignment with what we stand for, what we believe for, or even who we want to work for. So it's very important for us to know, what stand do you take in your business? And we do this by uncovering more about ourselves, because that makes us stronger people, and we're able to stand on our own value. But during this whole process of looking at our values and our identity and our beliefs, there's certain things that come up and that frighten us. And we all have fears in our business. We all have fears in our life. Now, if we'd lived in the caveman days, the fear would be fine, because we would be out there hunting and we would be using the little responses inside of our brain, okay, to tell us when we need to be kept safe. So if we saw this huge big lion coming towards us, the little response would go off in our brains and it will tell us that we need to turn around and run. The fact is, we have evolved over time, and so is technology, so is our lifestyle, so have we as people. And so what used to be things that could eat us up and kill us and do all of that stuff has changed. And we now live in a society that's a lot safer, where the only thing we have to worry about really is the way in which we perceive this fear. And fear really and truly is false evidence appearing real. It's something that comes up in you to try and still keep you safe. Is there somebody chatting? Somebody else on? Let me have a look.
It's me.
Hey, how are you?
I'm good.
Okay.
I have a baby on my lap though.
Oh, no, that's fine. That's okay. Do you want to click your little mute button?
Yes, I'm trying to find it because I'm on my phone for the first time.
All right. Oh, gosh, we are getting so tech savvy, each and every one of us. Aren't we just great and awesome? And yep, that's fantastic. There we go. I can see it says Galaxy Note and not Alison. And Camille, hi, Camille. How are you? That's good. All right, so let's go on. So we have this fear, basically, that isn't really real. Okay, I've lost myself now. Just a second. Okay, we have this fear that isn't real, and that's all fear really and truly is. Fear only exists in our mind. We can make it bigger, or we can shrink it down and downplay it. The fact is, I don't believe personally that we need to let fear, that fear is something to be feared. I think we need to learn how to embrace the fear, and that fear is actually just part of it's part of every single day. And when we use that fear, we can actually use it as a mechanism to help us to move forward. Now, the reason I say this is because I read a book some time ago by Stephen Pressfield, and the book is called The Art of War. It's an incredible book, and he talks about resistance. Now, his resistance is actually fear, and he says that if we use resistance as our North Pole, meaning that what we fear most, what we want is always on the other side of fear, we will then walk towards it so that we can move through that fear to get what it is that we want, which to me was really a good analogy. So instead of trying to fight the fear, we look at this fear as a way of moving us towards what it is that we need to do. Now, that is one way of looking at it, and that is putting a positive spin on the fear that we feel. From a biblical perspective, yes, learning to love fear, that's it. Just realizing that the fear that we have is not, it may be, what's the word? I've lost the word that I wanted to use right now. Unjustified. Okay, the fear probably is unjustified. It's because we attach it to something and then we carry that with us all the time. Look, there are times when we do need to use our natural instincts and move away from things. Hey, Judith, use our natural instincts to move away from things that are harmful to us. So we are not going to walk to the edge of the building and stand there and tempt fate. That would just be silly in any case. So there is a place for rational fear, for fear that is the natural fear that will keep you safe in your environment. The other fear is obviously the irrational fear, the fears that we build up in our mind because we perceive the thing that we're wanting, okay, to be bigger than what we can have it, too afraid to be able to go out there and get it. But the fact is that action is the antidote to fear. The more you take action, the less fear has power over you. Not just that, I find as well for myself that when we start speaking about the things that we're afraid of, then that fear loses its power. So the thing is, it's to be able to name the fear, name the thing that you're afraid of. So for me, all right, let's just use that as an example. I've always had this feeling of never feeling good enough. I probably would never have named it because I was too proud to name it. And I probably wasn't even aware of the fact that I had this not good enough thing hanging around until I started doing all of these exercises from about 7 years ago. I realized that my not good enough came from when I was a little girl, okay, and the recognition that I sought was from my father all the time. Now, my father was a very loving person. He actually taught me everything that I needed in life. But the fact is, whenever I needed something from him, he would put me off, or I'd need to have to go and redo it because it was never good enough, okay? And so it taught me that I needed to really and truly work very hard, put myself out there to get his approval, which was external approval, and I never validated myself. And so fear is generally based in these feelings of not good enough. Now, in the little workbook, and I'm going to be flicking, so flicking through screens as well over here. So if you lose me, don't worry. It's only me on my computer. And trying to also, there we go. Okay. Get to my notepad. There we go. In the little the workbook that I've given you, all right, you will notice that I've given you some things where it explains where fear, what is at the bottom of every fear. And if we just flick through them very, very quickly, you may have opened up the workbook right now. If you have, that's fine. If not, we'll go through it quickly. It's that at the bottom of every single fear are things like this, okay? Will they like me? Will I get that promotion? Have I had enough time to get somewhere? What will they think of me? Can I do the job? Or maybe even that you won't be able to have whatever life has to offer for you. But down at the bottom of all of that is that you're feeling not enough. Now, in our business, there are two fears that we normally have: the fear of failure and a fear of success. If telling my husband that I had a fear of failure, he would say to me, "Oh, that is absolutely ludicrous. How can anybody want to, have a fear of failure?" But the fact is that people do. People do fear success. Oh, sorry, not failure, success. People do fear success. And often he's laughed at me when I've mentioned, what if I do succeed? What if suddenly everything just happens and suddenly I have this huge business, the one that I dream of, the one that I have on my vision board, the one that I write out for myself as well? What happens then? Will the people that I've been friends with, will they still want to be friends with me? Will they still like me, or will they think I'm stuck up and snooty and over the top, What is it? And so while the fear of failure is a lot more noticeable because you can you can pick it up a lot quicker, the fear of success isn't as noticeable, and it's a lot harder to pinpoint. But here's one of the clues: self-sabotage. And so if you are self-sabotaging, know perhaps that underlying this whole thing is the fear of success. The fact is, you could be having that belief, and it goes back to our belief system again. What do you believe about women achieving success? For me, some time ago, this is the thought that came up. My husband is the breadwinner in our family. He goes out and he brings in the money. But as a Christian woman, I'm also brought up to be submissive to my husband and to see him as the head of my home, to acknowledge him and respect him for the position that he holds, which means that somewhere I formed a belief that, how can I become better and stronger and more successful and earn more money than my husband? Although many years ago, that's exactly what happened. Back in my corporate days, I earned twice my husband's income until he started his businesses, of course, and it never fazed me then. It's only now, in the past 7 years, that thought has become conscious, okay? And the thought is, wowee, what will happen to our relationship if I'm earning 3 or 5 or 10 times more than what he is earning? The fact is, that fear is irrational. And it is only in my own mind. We've had discussions about it, and we've sat down and said, well, what happens? What happens when I do achieve the success? What happens when my business can you hear me? Yes. Oh, good. Okay. I thought it was just some cracking. What happens when, I do start making this huge amount and exceed his income by 3 or 4 or 5 times as well? And so we've had this discussion already up front as to how this all plays out. And you know what? Husbands are normally the biggest supporters ever. They want their wives to succeed. All that they really live for is to make you happy. They really and truly want to see you happy as well. So it doesn't matter if you're earning an income. It's your attitude behind the earning the income that counts. If you earn that income and you're a high income, in a higher income bracket than what he is, and you have an arrogant, proud attitude where you would throw that back in his face, then you know what? Then I don't think that that's a good thing. But I know that the women on this call are not those type of women. We're here to be able to create income, not just for ourselves, but for the greater good of our families as well. So let's get back to this fear, okay? So often we can let fear hold us back because we make it real in our lives and we start entertaining the thought. When you start entertaining a thought for longer than 17 seconds, that thing starts taking root. And you don't want it to, because it'll stop you from taking action if you entertain it a lot. The fact is that the longer you wait, the worse the feeling of fear gets. It's in that waiting period that your mind starts bringing up. Of course you can, Anne. I'm not sure whether he's going to want to. But you're more than welcome to bring them in if you want. Yes. The fact is that it's in the waiting that you procrastinate. You start running these thoughts around you, and the fear starts becoming bigger and bigger and bigger. It's like the monster under the bed. Your child, if you have children, you've often heard them say, oh no, I don't want to go to sleep at night because, I'm fearful, or I'm afraid, or it's dark in my room, or something like that. There's a monster under my bed. And the more they hold on to the thought, the worse it actually gets for them. It's to be able to move that thought onto something else as quick as possible, or to take action and let it go. And when as I mentioned before, when we name it, when we actually give that fear, if we can identify what that fear is, if we give it a name, instantaneously it loses its power. Also remember, an emotion really just hangs around for about 90 seconds or so. Fantastic, Judith. I'll put this up in the group and then you can have a look at it a little bit later. The fact is, emotions hang around for about 90 seconds or so. So if we can feel into that emotion and then ask ourselves, where's this coming from? What is happening? What is happening without getting caught up into the emotion? So almost looking at it as if you're a bystander, as if you're disassociating yourself and looking at it from a dissociated point of view. Then that feeling, that emotion loses its power as well. And you can look at it going past you and then ask yourself later, wow, what just happened there? Okay, what triggered this? Where did this come from? Okay, please don't wait and hang around for 90 seconds if you're standing in front of a bear or a lion. Just do what your natural instinct tells you and run, okay? Are there any questions so far? If you have any questions, please, you can just unmute yourself and ask or pop it in the box or anything like it. Or if you have something to share, please share that as well, okay? So, now that we know that a fear can actually self-sabotage us as well, especially the fear of success, let's have a look and see exactly what it is that, what does sabotage look like? What is it? How does it manifest in you? How do you identify this thing as being as self-sabotaging? Well, first off, I know for me, an experience for me, if I'm doing something, I tend to procrastinate, okay? So for me, my self-sabotage is procrastination. I will dilly and I'll dally and I will mull over it 1,000 times and then I'll take action. But I've decided, and I have actually enabled myself to shortcut this whole period because, the dilling-dallying period, because what happens is once I now know exactly what it looks like, okay, and how it manifests in me, the minute I start doing it or become aware of it, I can immediately take action and move it. And so I have a 1-2-3 rule, and the 1-2-3 rule is this. If I find that something is coming up or I need to do something and I'm feeling that little bit of anxiety or fear or whatever it is, because fear looks different to everybody, okay? That little feeling that you get wherever it is that you get it. So some people get it in their stomach, some people get it in their heart, some people get it in their head, sometimes they get it at the back of their spine, tingles, or something, wherever it is that you get it, and you need to identify where it comes up in your body. When you get that feeling, you need to say to yourself, or I say to myself, okay, on the count of 3, whatever it is that I am putting off doing, I am going to do, and I count to 3. 1, 2, and on 3, I do it. And I don't give myself any way out of not doing it. I just do it. Now, the YouTube video that I uploaded in the website has she uses an analogy called the handbrake. And she says, whenever we're afraid of something, if somebody says, hey, you down in the audience, why don't you come up on stage? Within 5 seconds, if we don't take action within 5 seconds, our brain, that little part of it that gets triggered by fear, will immediately pull up the handbrake and start saying rationally to you, oh no, you could never do this. Who the hell do you think you are? Oh gosh, what on earth, are you bragging or boasting again? All of these things, okay, will start coming up into your brain, and it will stop you from getting up and walking towards that stage. So the fact is, when you feel something and you are compelled to do it, when somebody gives you an option or an opportunity to do something and you feel immediately, this is what I want to do, act on it. Act on it as quickly as possible, because generally your gut instinct is correct. We have 3 brains, a head brain, a heart brain, and a gut brain. And it is your gut brain that actually moves you into action. It is your gut brain this is where your intuition lies, okay? This is the thing that gives you the courage that says, I'm going to do this. I'm going to stand firm. I'm going to stand fast, and I'm going to move forward. Does that make sense? Okay, sorry, phone's ringing. Okay, so self-sabotage could appear to you in all different ways. For me, it definitely is a procrastination. For you, it may come up as something else. Okay, it may be that you make very quick decisions that are not in alignment with your plans. It means that you could possibly put off something that's really, that seems unimportant, but it isn't. It also could possibly mean that for an important appointment, you arrive late habitually, just so that, at the end of the day, it jeopardizes that potential contract or that thing. When you can identify that little behavior, okay, that you display every single time just as something good or crucial is about to happen, you will pinpoint that that comes from a feeling of fear. All right. Then you can say, wow, gosh, I just noticed that every time I need to go for an interview or for a new, get a new client, or I need to put out a new contract, I avoid getting the contracts out within the first 24 hours. I wonder why that is. And you can go in and you can try and sort it out from then. Okay. From a conscious point of view, it really makes no sense that you try and sabotage yourself. But remember, this is all working unconsciously in the back of your mind, okay? And we really need to have the confidence to be able to get over this. So I do talk about confidence in the workbook as well. And I've also given you access to some of this information has been taken out of my 7-step Unshakable Hot Confidence e-course. I have put the link there. If you're interested in it as well, you can have a look at it and see whether it's something that you may want to do. It is 7 steps. It's just an e-course and it is very simple to apply. Okay. Here is a question that I normally like to ask most people as well when they realize that fear is coming up, okay, is that if you were able to handle anything in that life had to offer you, what would you attempt or endeavor to do? Well, like, I know that if I had to ask you this right now, I'm hoping that you'll say anything, okay? You would be unstoppable. You know, if you would stop analyzing where your fears came from, how much time would that free up? Where would you be able to focus instead? So I don't want you to focus on the fear aspect of it. I just want you to be aware that fear does come up and it can self-sabotage you to a certain stage. It's good to understand, where these things come up as well. All right, so some ways in which we can, just get my notes over here, sorry. There's some ways in which we can actually manage a lot of our fear that comes up as well. And 2 of these are NLP strategies, which can be used, which I'm going to share with you now as well. I haven't written them down in the workbook because I thought I'd share them on the video. And then obviously what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be getting all of these. You do? I do not feel that I self-sabotage. That's great, Anne. If you don't self-sabotage, that's great. Self-sabotage looks different for everybody. I think, if you're not somebody that does that, then that's fantastic. Cherie, you sabotage yourself a lot. I think maybe you need to identify exactly how it is that you do it. Is it you talk yourself out of something? What is it that you actually do to cause yourself to self-sabotage? You too, Rosaria, you do that all the time. Well, now you can't do it anymore because guess what? You've just become aware of the fact that you do this. So once you know something, you can never unknow something. The fact is we can't unlearn what we've just learned. So you've just learned and become aware of the fact that when you have a program to put out, or when you start launching a business, or when you're taking on a new project or something like that, your tendency is to want to procrastinate or to self-sabotage in whichever way you do it. Well, now you know that that's what you do. So instead of doing that specific action, that old action that you used to do, you no longer do that old action anymore. You now have chosen and are choosing at this very minute to do something else instead. And that something else is possibly just to take action and go forward with whatever it is that you're doing. Obviously, if it's a bigger decision and things like that, you're going to use your common sense in this whole process, in any case, in terms of the thing that you're going to be doing. I mean, if you're walking up a flight of steps and somebody says to you, jump down them, you're obviously not going to do that. The times and places that you're going to, use your rational head as well. Okay. So I find paperwork boring. So if I'm not careful, I will avoid sales to prevent more paperwork. Oh, good heavens. Okay. All right. So that's an interesting one. I think reading that very slowly. So if I read this very slowly, I find paperwork boring. So if I'm not careful, I will avoid sales to prevent more paperwork. I'd like to have a chat to you about that one, because what if it wasn't the paperwork, and what if there was something in the sales? Because the paperwork could be, perhaps it could be delegated in a way. We could go on and have a huge conversation on that. But that's interesting. It's interesting that that's come up. Thanks for sharing that in any case. if you want to unmute yourself and, have a discussion around it, that's good. Maybe it can help somebody else as well. We would do that. That's okay, Rosario. You just keep on going. Okay, so it comes up in all different ways for us, okay? So, for example, Alison's just said she avoids sales because she doesn't want the paperwork that goes with it. Again, for me, I probably would be the opposite. I'd get stuck into all the paperwork just that I don't have to do the sale. Because why? The fear of rejection beneath the sale is probably the thing that I fear. And it's not really the rejection. It's more the fact of, what if I'm not good enough? And the good enough stems from, what if they don't like me? What if I can't deliver? And all of these things. But I'm so aware of this that the fact is, I now know I can work through these things, and I can say, how can I? If I look at what I can offer people instead of feeling afraid, that pulls me more to making the sale than not making the sale. So I would turn it around, and I'd reframe it. So I'd say, fine, if I didn't do the sale or I didn't get on a call with somebody, I'm not able to do what I love to do most, and that's to help people transform their lives. For me, that is even more important. And it drives me even more, and it pulls me even more than the fear does. So I'll get over the fear just so that I can engage with the person and help them to achieve their goal in life, because that is stronger. That feeling, that emotion is stronger than the fear. So for me, I would say, a few years ago, and as a matter of fact, to tell you the truth, Alison and I have met quite a few times, and several years ago, I had to make a telephone call, and I was terrified of making this telephone call, absolutely terrified. And we were sitting in a room of a colleague of ours, and right then and there, she said, "Get out your phone." And I thought, oh my good heavens, this woman's going to actually make me make this telephone call in front of everybody, or in front of this. I just can't do this. I just can't do this. But I knew, okay, that something else was driving me, and said, "Brenda, you're going to have to make this telephone call right now." And you know what it was? It was the fear of looking like a fool in front of a friend who actually admired me, who actually thought I could do it. So that has also helped me in the fact that other people believe I can do it. So they have prepared to invest time and energy in me and believe that I can do something. Who the hell am I to let them down? And so what did I do? I picked up the phone and I made the telephone call. I didn't get the person on the other end, I don't think. I think I left a message. But you know what? That was one step in the direction of saying, do you know what? What I want is so much more valuable than that I fear. Okay, and so that is one way to look at it as well, is that if you can find something that outweighs that. The Bible says, do not fear, or fear not, 365 times. That is one fear not for every single day, depending on what translation you actually use. So if we have been instructed to fear not, then you know what? We need to take that instruction to heart, and we need to be able to know and understand. We need to know and understand, okay, that there is really and truly no reason to fear if we are, what's the word? If we are standing in what we believe to be true, there is no reason to fear. Camille says, I sabotage by procrastination. Yeah, I think many of us use procrastination. Distracting myself, hiding, disconnection from the bigger vision. What is that ear of actually getting too close with clients? Interesting. Sharing vulnerabilities. That is interesting. That is interesting. Yet we know for us to be client attractive, okay, clients are attracted to you through your story. So which means that, perhaps you need to just go back, Camille, and have a look and see what's stopping you from getting close to your clients. Do you, I know immediately what pops up to me is my dad would always say, familiarity breeds contempt. Don't tell your clients everything. And that's true. Don't tell your clients everything. There are certain things that your clients need to know, and there's certain things that they don't. But there is nothing stopping you from, sharing a story that may impact a client and get them to connect with you a lot more. That's part of the rapport building process. That is part of, the relatability and connectability that you feel as human beings, that somebody else has traveled the same journey that you have. And I think that we don't have to go and give the dark, dirty deed secrets that we have to have. We just need to mention, the event or something, so that they get the idea. Look here, this woman knows what she's talking about. He's been through it as well. I know what it feels like to self-sabotage. I know what it feels like to procrastinate. I have done there, been there. I have compared there is nothing that I haven't done. And the fact is, that's why I can speak so easily now about how to become client attractive, because through this whole process, it's taken me such a long journey to get to where I am now, and I'm still a work in progress. I don't think we're ever perfect, and I think the day that we think we are, I don't know. I don't have an answer for that question myself as well, but I don't think that we're broken and need to be fixed. And I don't think we're perfect. I think we're constantly changing, constantly moving, constantly adapting to our environments, to people around us. We're learning to become the me that we were created to be. So it's almost as if I put it this way, we can have this blueprint of who we actually are here, and this is where we are, and every single day through events, through people, through learning, through training, through changing beliefs and things like that, we slowly move towards this perfect blueprint of ourselves, and we become that person. And I think, and I don't know if we ever get to that specific destination. I think we need to understand that the journey that we're on, that is the bit that we need to enjoy. And if we don't enjoy the journey, well, you know what, we're not going to enjoy the destination either. We need to be able to take as much out of the journey as possible. I'm very lucky when I have trained thousands of clients and their feedback builds me up all the time. But I procrastinate doing content for my online program because I'm training ladies who I can't see. That's interesting, Cherie. That's very interesting. Plus, I can also, if I could just play devil's advocate over here, all right? When you say feedback, your feedback builds me up all the time. Can I challenge you on this and say, perhaps if there is a way to find something where you can start validating yourself instead of depending on your clients to validate you. Because often when we wait for external validation and that doesn't come, we find ourselves at the bottom of the barrel, feeling bad, questioning ourselves. Did I do the right thing? Am I good enough? Should I close my shop? Am I ever having an effect? Am I impacting people? And stuff like that. We should really and truly, as much as possible, and it's a journey to go on, to avoid feeling validated by external sources and rather validate yourself. As a believer, you're a believer as well. Your identity lies in who God made you to be. And so allow him to validate you and allow yourself to be validated through your relationship with your creator, basically. Okay, and I'm only saying that because I know you so well and you know me and I just absolutely love and adore you. All right, but as far as the online training goes, you will be as good in online training as what you are on offline. Think of it. So when I do this, okay, remember when I do my Facebook videos, live in the group, I cannot see anybody. Today I can, and it's actually more nerve-wracking than not seeing you, to tell you the truth, okay, because I'm not looking at your faces at all because, I read expressions quite well. So the fact is, when you're not seeing them, all right, all you do is you picture one of your clients. So what I do when I'm doing that video, I actually put one of the people in my group in front of me and I close my eyes and I pretend that I'm having a heart-to-heart personal conversation with just that person. I'm giving my attention to that person. I'm loving that person. I'm sharing my insights with that person. And you know what? It makes that training so much easier because it no longer feels like I'm speaking to myself or to a global audience, but it feels like I'm speaking to my friend. And you know what? When I speak to my friend, do you know what happens? I connect with my heart. And when I connect with my heart, I give everything that I possibly can because I will never keep or withhold from a friend. If I see a friend who's struggling, I'm going to share my golden nuggets with that friend. If I see a friend who's in need, I'm going to share and provide, answers and solutions if I can to somebody else. So I always try and see one person behind that screen that I'm talking to, and I connect with that person as if it is my dearest, oldest friend. And all we're doing is we're having a heart-to-heart conversation. Does that make sense? When you do that, I promise you, your videos will come across as being so natural because that is who you are. That is who you are. So I hope that helped a little bit. Yes, we are becoming more of who we are. I've often wanted to shortcut the journey. So did I. So did I. I mean, there were times in my life where I didn't even know that I didn't like myself, Jane. I mean, how crazy is that? And that's it. And there were times in my life where I really knew I didn't like myself and that I wanted to change myself as quickly as possible. But you know what? This is a journey that we're on. And every single day, a tiny piece of the puzzle falls into place. When I journaled this morning, I just opened up and in the journaling, I just felt like the lessons that have come just from creating this program have been incredible. I cannot even begin to tell you the struggle that I had in putting this out. Really and truly, I felt sick. I was sick for 3 weeks. I had tech issues. No internet. My modem just blew up. That's it, just like tech issues, totally. I found myself in the garage sticking my NBN cable into my computer just to try and get some work done, just terrible. It's like I procrastinated, and I actually wrote in the journal this morning as well, that I did not have content created until the day before we started, because all I did throughout the process was say, give me clarity to be able to give the right thing to these women at the right time. And 24 hours before we started this, it was as if the heavens opened and every single day unfolded in front of me exactly how it should have been. And it was an incredible process. And you know what? Through that process, I learned to trust. I learned to trust that I actually have whatever it takes and whatever I need to be able to deliver this program. And it's not perfect. It's a work in progress, And so this is how these things happen. Okay, so rewriting our love rule. Yep, that is true. I use humor to shut off the critical voices. I need to go. Okay, that's fine. And that was Anne. Rosario, I know I should be interacting more with prospective clients on social media, but it's all about showing my portfolio, being a perfectionist. I just procrastinate and I don't show much. Then I miss out on selling people because they don't know my fun services and products I can get manufactured for them. Okay, do you know what? This may help. I saw somebody posting in my other group. So I have a group called Business by Design as well. And I noticed somebody posting earlier about saying that she is blogging and she's run out of ideas for a blog. So she wrote a blog post which actually has nothing to do with her business. And she's wondering what she's going to do with these blog posts that she's been writing. What can she do with them? Because she doesn't want to waste them, but she also feels like she's only been blogging according to her business. And you know what I said to her? I said, take that and create another category on your website, okay, even if it is in your business, even if it is unrelated, maybe add in something else that says things that I like or, fun things to do or other things I sell or whatever it is, and then start blogging about yourself or your experiences or how you built your business or whatever it is you like, your habits and your fun things or your holidays and stuff like that, because people do not buy the business, okay? People buy you. They buy you in the business. And so if you're putting things, just business stuff there, unless it is an educational business website with no room for anything else, I would say intermingle your blog posts. Add in things, okay, that let people have a glimpse into who you are, your life, okay, you as the person, because when they get to know, love and trust you, they tend to want to purchase from you. You become that credible person in their eyes, you become that trusted advisor. And we all like to be able to purchase from somebody that we trust and that we know, because then we know that they've got our best interests at heart and they're not just going to take our money and run. So I said to her, do that. So maybe the same thing will apply to you, is that every now and again, while you're putting out your beautiful portfolio, okay, and stuff like that, perhaps you can just pop in 1 or 2 little posts in between that just give people a glimpse of who the real you is, okay? And I can guarantee you, when you start doing that, people will start gravitating towards you because there'll be something unique about your story that they're wanting to know more about, okay? This week I signed up a new client. I have no idea how that happens, okay? Oh, I do, but it's just amazing. Somebody who I've only met twice in my life, working in Tasmania in the 7 years, who I would never have thought, okay, would ever, I've had no connection with her at all, right? Sends me a Facebook message. Hey, just been on your website, okay? Love what I'm reading over there. Would love to find out about your business planning session. We set up a meeting. The funny thing is, this is what happened. So I said, give me a call. We'll have a discussion. That was Thursday. Friday, called her. She didn't answer her phone. 2 o'clock, called her again, didn't answer her phone. Friday night, sent her a message. Didn't answer my message. And I thought, okay, the old Brenda would normally leave it, okay? I'm thinking, gosh, Do I send her another message? Do I come across as being pushy? What if she says, and I thought, no, I have no idea what's going on in her life, okay? She may be out of range, not got my message. Maybe something's going on in her life, okay? I'm not going to assume anything, because you know what assume is? Makes an ass out of you and an ass out of me. And so I'm not assuming anything. And so I flicked a message and I said, look, have no idea what's been happening. Just thought I'd touch base again because I noticed you didn't respond to this and this and this and this and this, just checking in to see that you're okay, that all things are okay. Should you want to touch base, here is my telephone number, waiting for your call. And that's it. Immediately got an answer. And you know what? Something had happened on Friday. Something had happened and she was down and out for 3 full days. We met up on Monday. It was a 30-minute conversation. It was like hotcakes, and she signed up into one of my longer term programs, 3 months. But you know what? What if I had let fear step in, or the old voices in my head come up and say, oh, Brenda, what if it's really that she doesn't like you? What if she's second guessing herself? What if she doesn't know how to pull out of this now, and so she's just ignoring your messages? What if I had listened to those voices in my head? I wouldn't have found her. I wouldn't have followed up, and I wouldn't have had a client. So sometimes we just need to change our patterns and take action. And it is in the action taking that the things start happening. Okay. Interior design. So Camille says, what do you do, Rosario? Interior design and decorating. I'm confident face-to-face as my personality and passion comes through. I just struggle with social media. Okay. So my business promoted primarily through my Facebook page, personal page. My business encourages us to be ourselves, post more about us than the business. Okay, so that's good. Yes, Camille helps people to find their partners, and she's been very successful in that, even finding her own partner. And she got married. I think it was this year or last year, Camille. Yes, in Tassie, by the way. She actually came down here and got married here. So that's good. Okay, so yes, if you have any business-related questions or anything that you want answered, please feel free to pop them down here as well. This is a coaching, training, and Q&A session. So I'd love to be able to answer some of your questions as well. And then as you can just address the, the fear issues. It's not a big thing. I don't want people to go and focus too much on it. It does give you some little exercise to do in the workbook, which is a really easy little exercise to do. And also the 2 techniques that I mentioned earlier, I was going to share with you. I'll just quickly share with you, and then we can get on to some open forum and questions if you like. Okay. So one of the ways that you can do this is to create a success inventory. Okay, so get yourself a little notebook, okay, and then start writing down all your successes, all the things that you've achieved in life. Okay, now we've already done the identity exercise, which took you through different aspects of your life, chopped up in little categories of 10 years, basically, or in sections of 10 years. So you've done that. So you'll be able to already identify all the good things that have happened there. Now go back to that and look at all the successes, okay? So you're looking for evidence. That's what you're actually doing. Once you've done, take a look at the list. Take a look at these success lists. It may be that you won the 100 meters when you were 6 years old. It may be that you sang on a stage in front of 200 people. It may be that you climbed Mount Kilimanjaro with only a light vest and no support whatsoever. Whatever it was that you perceive to be a success, please write it down. If it means starting your business and being up and running for the past 3 years and overcoming many challenges, that is a success. Write it down, okay? If it means you started writing a book, write that down. Whatever it is, okay? Write down every single thing that you can see has been a success. And don't be modest here, okay? Video is my Everest. Yes, okay, well, I'm going to challenge you, because guess what's going to happen on day number 8? I'm not going to tell you, because then you're going to start working yourself up now, but you're not, because you're going to be fine by then. Day number 8, we have all of this stuff. Remember, every single one of these days build up to the next, okay? So this is a cumulative process. By the time we finish day number 5, you'll be ready to go into part number 2, which is day 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10, or 6 to 10. And those are the days that we're going to be taking what we've done and actually applying them. Remember, we said this is broken up into 3 areas: clarity, confidence, and focus. And under the focus is taking action. Okay, and it's being accountable, which means that this video is not ever going to be your biggest fear again. As a matter of fact, you're going to learn to love it. You're going to learn to love the camera. Your personality is going to shine on it. Okay. All right. So Okay, so ways to get rid of this fear. We're going to do a success inventory. We're going to write down the successes in each stage of our life. We're looking for this evidence. Any little thing, it doesn't matter what it was, okay, how insignificant you think it may be. If it sounds like it's a success, don't be modest here. Write it down, okay? Then you're going to look at this list, and you may have 10, you may have 20, you may have 100, whatever it is. Try and get it as long as you can. Congratulate yourself, okay? And realize that you are capable of doing anything that you truly wish, because there is evidence on that piece of paper that when you apply yourself and you put your mind to things, that you are able and capable of achieving these things, okay? So don't downplay your successes. As women, we have a tendency to do that more than what men do. My husband and I were discussing this last night. He came in and he mentioned something about how much profit the company that he's working for has currently made, but the profit has come in as a result of him working for the company. And so he showed me his statistics of when he started in February up until now, and it is incredible. And so he said the person who actually appointed him on the day of his interview said, "I hope you're worth the money that I'm paying you." Okay. And so to me, I want to go, you know what? My husband is 5,000 times worth more than what you're currently paying him. But I didn't. And I said, "Oh, really? That's interesting." He says, "Yes." So he says, "So one day in passing, he may just go and say to this, man, so what do you think now? Am I worth what you wanted to pay me and stuff like that?" He says, "Oh no, maybe I won't say that. That will sound like really, oh no, that." And I said, excuse me. I said, "Let me tell you something." I said, "Don't pull a chick thing here with me, okay? Because really, that is the type of attitudes that girls have, okay? Girls go and say, 'Oh, I can't go and say that because you know what? What if they look at me and they think she's so boastful? Oh, can't do that." And everything. I go, "Oh, she's just big noting herself." Good heavens, she thinks so much of herself because you know what, women, they're so critical out there in any case. But what if we all had to support each other and say, "Wow, you lovely thing, look what you've just achieved then." And we all built each other up and we put each other out there and we work towards conspiring for each other's success. Imagine if we did that. Imagine if we felt comfortable and confident enough to be able to stand in our value and say, "Do you know what? This is what I achieved and I am worth it." You don't have to go and bugle it out there, but in your quiet confidence, you can. Tara Gentile says she has something called quiet, I think she calls it her quiet something or the other. You can go and Google her, Tara Gentile, and she actually has trademarked that word, which is fantastic because it means quietly, on your own, you stand in your confidence. It's quiet, powerful confidence. Now, I don't think we need to back down from who we are. If we are powerful women, we need to be powerful women. All right, there's room for all of us with all our different personalities in this world. We need to be able to stay with each other and support each other. Okay, so that means that if you do something very well, list it on your list and then congratulate yourself, okay? Congratulate yourself. Statistics have shown that women are far less confident than men in the workplace. And EBW 2020 recently did a survey where they noticed that men are more inclined to go out and ask for promotions, to tell people about their achievements, to talk about their achievements very easy in networking events or board meetings, or say, "I've just sold that house," or whatever it is, than what women are, because we are perceived to, we see it as being perceived pushy or out there or boastful or all of that type of thing. When really it isn't. All it is that you are discussing the achievements that you have actually achieved. All right, the second exercise, it's called the pink bubble exercise. Don't you just love that, okay? It's a creative visualization process. And what it is what you're busy looking at is you look at how you would like things to be. So instead of how you don't want things to be, what we think about, we bring about. Where energy goes, focus flows, and we don't want that at all. So what you want to do, especially if it's in a negative sense as well, especially if it's a fearful way, you want to be able to creatively visualize exactly how you want your life or your business or the thing that you're afraid of doing to be. So let's just say, Tonya, you're afraid of video, okay? Let's look at how would you really like it to be. Okay, so if we're looking at it, maybe you would like it to be that, did you also mention a little bit earlier that you're a little bit of a perfectionist? Let me just see. Or was that Rosario? No, okay, that was Rosario. Okay. Okay, so if you, if in your mind you start creating, thinking into how would you like it to be? How would you like to feel when you're doing these videos? Would you like to be calm? Would you like to be confident? Create the picture of you already doing it in your mind. So choose a date in the future, okay, and already what you need to do is just, create this picture in your mind and start thinking into it, okay? See yourself doing it. See yourself taking the stance. See yourself in front of your microphone. See yourself with a smile on your face. Feel the confidence. Feel your spine stretching and standing up tall. Feel how it feels like when you stand in a powerful stance, okay? Feel what it feels like to look at the person on the other side of that camera and know that you're serving them to the best of your capability, that what you have, you're sharing from the bottom of your heart, because why? That information is life-changing. It's going to help somebody else to achieve their goal. And if you constantly being fearful, that person is not getting that information. Or if they are, they're getting it from somewhere else, and you are not going to be able to help that person yourself, okay? So visualize it, feel it, feel into it, hear what you're saying to yourself, see what you're seeing, build this picture of it already happening. Once you've done that, okay, feel the success of this whole thing. Feel what it feels like to have, wow, I've achieved this video. I created this video. This is amazing. I love it. I'm going to put it out there. All of those things. And then you take it and you envelope it in a soft, pink, fluffy, beautiful bubble. Now, when I was a child, we used to have bubble gum. It's called Bubbaloo. I don't know if you have ever had Bubbaloo, but it was like a block, like quite a big block. And you'd put it in your mouth and you'd start chewing, and it would get bigger and bigger and bigger in your mouth. And you just keep on chewing for what felt like forever, until all the sugary stuff and all the sweet stuff and all that stuff that we don't want in our bodies has been swallowed and taken in. And then you'd be left with a gum bit, the real gum bit. And you could blow a bubble with this thing that was probably the size of a balloon. So whenever I think of this exercise, I think of blowing that bubble, okay? So close your eyes, and now you're taking that you've visualized, and you're blowing this beautiful, big, pink, bubbly bubblegum bubble around it, okay? And as you're blowing around it, you seal off the end and you let it go, and it floats up. Floats up, floats up, floats up, and away, up into the sky. Now, what that is, you've just created your vision, okay? You've sealed it and you've released it. And now you detach from the outcome. And it's in the detaching from the outcome that we're actually releasing that fear, and we're doing things from a space of no longer for me, but for the person who needs what I have. Does that make sense? All right, so those were the two specific little exercises that are not in the workbook that you can do. You will find that the workbook does have some questions for you to ask as well, and a space for notes. Okay. One of the things that we can do, which I've just seen now, and that I haven't touched on, is actually to change the language about how we speak about these things. And so if we want to be more empowered, we're going to be using more empowering language. So instead of saying I can't, we'll be moving our language from I can't to I won't. Just think what that does to the mind, okay? Normally you'd say, oh, I can't do this thing. But the fact is, you actually can. You're choosing not to. Right? And yes, everything is in life is a choice. You either choose it or you don't choose it. So by saying I can't, all you're doing is you're telling yourself, okay, that you can't do it, when in actual fact you can do it, but you've chosen not to. So rather change the I can't to I won't, because I won't makes you responsible, all right? So now you've taken responsibility. And remember, in our beliefs exercise, we said that the first step was awareness, the second step was taking responsibility for every single one of your actions, every single one of your emotions, everything that you do in life. Well, that makes you the responsible person. So now you can say, you know what, I've chosen not to, I won't. So instead of I can't, it's just I won't. And then you may be saying, oh, but what if I was physically not able to because I have a life-threatening disease, or I'm in a wheelchair and I can't do these things, so I can't jump out of an aeroplane. Oh, yes, you can, because there have been people that have been tied to wheelchairs that have jumped out of aeroplanes. So anything is possible. I'm a firm believer that if you put your mind to it and you really want something bad enough, anything is possible. When I worked in corporate, I had a mentor. Her name was Gerda, and she was much younger than what I was, but she was an absolutely dynamic woman, and she would never let me believe that I can't do anything. She always used to say there is no such thing as impossible, because anything that you want badly enough is possible. Rather say you won't. And that is the truth, rather than say you won't, because that means that the responsibility lies with you. Turn your I shoulds into I could. Turn it's a problem into it's an opportunity. Turn I hope into I wonder. When we come from a place of wonderment, it opens the world for us. In coaching, one of the things that you will hear lots of coaches use, or the word that they use, is I'm curious and I wonder. Because when we come from that place of I wonder how it would be if you had to look at it like this, or I wonder why you think like that. What it does is it doesn't tie you down. It opens your mind up, and it allows you to start thinking creatively as well. It leaves room for movement. It leaves room for digging in deep and for investigation, instead of being closed off and saying, no, it's not going to. Be curious. Be curious about, I'm curious. Where did that thought just come from now? Wowee. And that gives your unconscious mind the opportunity to go and search for the answer. Turn what if into maybe, So we can change our language. And if we can change our language, we become much more empowered. We'll also talk about the wheel of fear. The wheel of fear, and I've given you an exercise in exactly what the wheel of fear is over there, so go through the workbook as well. I've given you some symptoms of what it'll look like when you're on the wheel of fear. Remember, this is not an exhaustive list. This is just a few little examples, so don't get too hung up about the stuff there. Then I've also given you another little exercise about, a few words that I've asked you to study and then to insert it into certain lines. Like, for example, the words that I've given were selfish, stupid, weak, incompetent, ordinary, a loser, a fake, lazy, invisible, or rejected. And then I've asked you to pick one of those words, okay, and to insert it into the sentence. And it is, if someone I love, respect, and admire was to think I was, insert one of those words, okay, I'd be devastated. Now, maybe you have another word that you would like to insert, but if you have one of those words, I'd be devastated. So that will help you to uncover exactly what it is that you're afraid of. You see, so you can use your own words and then just use that same sentence. Okay. So what happens when we, I've given you some things that we do when we're triggered by fear. We become people pleasers. We isolate ourselves. We blame others. Camille, you mentioned you actually isolate yourself to a certain stage. We blame others. We compromise. We go shopping. We have a negative or a skeptical attitude. We sleep way too much. We procrastinate, over-apologize, take things personally. We be manipulative. We give up. We go surfing channels until 3 a.m. in the morning. We put ourselves down. We overwork. We shut down. We beat ourselves up verbally. We get in first by hurting someone else. We be irresponsible, we overeat, we tend to go towards perfectionism, over-complaining, or endless daydreaming. Once you've gone through that list, okay, it gives you another little question where you can choose one of those, because that will show you how you actually avoid doing certain things. Which one do you actually choose to avoid doing certain things? Oh, and I see I've actually just duplicated the page, so do the exercise twice. Okay, so then we're going to look at, okay, once you've done that, you're going to take those answers and then describe to yourself what would be possible if you were free of your wheel of fear in terms of your relationship, your career, your finances, your health and well-being, your social life, your family, spirituality, contribution to others, your home, your creativity, and your emotional development. So yes, again, it is quite an intense exercise. Don't worry too much about it. Okay, I don't want you to get hung up on the fear side of it. I want you to look towards the future for it and see how this can actually help you. How can fear actually be your driver? How can it move you forward instead of hold you back? Okay, as we said, fear is resistance. Whatever it is that we want is on the other side of resistance. If we push through the resistance, we'll get what we want in life. Okay. What do you mean by contribution? Okay. Where did I read that? Did I read this? Was it something that I've read? Contribution. Let me just go back up and have a look. Your contribution. So your contribution to contribution to other people, contribution to yourself, contribution to your home. So how are you contributing even to social, to your community, perhaps even. So contribution as whatever your definition of contribution may be. Okay, does that make sense, Jane? Okay, awesome. Does anybody else have any questions? Anything else? Is that helpful? Good. I have just received day number 5, beautiful audio, and I think I'm just going to, if I can, just unplug my earphones here and then go and let you hear a sneak peek of it. Just very, very quickly, if I can find it. Let me just go in. Oh, here it is, yeah. Okay. Okay, just go to these. Okay, so this is something that I've had made specially, and it is beautiful. And underneath this has, oh, come on, play, go and play. I now have all the resources I need to achieve my life. Underneath it has about 300 different, amazing, incredible, beautiful affirmations that I have created to cover various aspects of your life and your business, your relationships, who you are as a person, your career, wealth and money, and everything else as well. And so tomorrow, I'll be adding this in, special gift from me to you. You can hear his voice softly. This is just the louder one. I'll put the one that you can hardly hear his voice in. It is really an incredible piece of music with incredible affirmations. So if you're worried about what the affirmations say, I'm happy to send you the little document as well so that you can read every single one of them, to read that there is no woo-woo stuff that I've been putting in there that's weird or out of sorts. It's all just beautiful affirmations. And that is my gift to you. So look forward to day number 5, because day number 5 is a lot lighter than day number 4, I promise. Okay, so I think we've been on for about an hour now. Does anybody have any questions? If you have any, I'm going to be posting this video. That it is great, Cherie and Camille. It is beautiful. It is a really beautiful piece of music. I'll be posting this in the group as well. I just want to edit off the first bit first, just where we were all hanging around doing nothing in the beginning, and then I'll be putting it up in the group too, and also onto the website. If you have questions, you can just post it below the video and I'll get to them as well if anything pops up. Also, if you have any insights that have come from this, please share them in the group, obviously, by reading other people's things, by reading everybody else's things as well. We're learning and growing too. Also, you may have an insight that I don't have. So if you see somebody has posted something there and you'd love to answer it, please do, because this is our group. This is not just for me to come in and answer. I'm not there to solve everybody's problems or anything like that, because I trust and believe that you have it inside of you in any event. And so you can go and share your little insights and your little thoughts. And that'll be good. So do you love this format? Oh, yeah, we'll be doing one of these again. So we'll be doing some Facebook Live videos, and then I'm going to try and do another one of these Zoom ones next week again, because I have somebody who wants to be maybe a little bit earlier, because the UK obviously they struggle to get on at this specific time. This is a good time for America and for the PST time zone, Pacific Standard Time Zone, and the Eastern Standard Time Zone, but not for the UK time zone. So if we could do it a little bit earlier, or I'll find a time that'll accommodate most of people. But it is a great format. I love seeing everybody's faces. It almost feels like we're in the same room together. Thank you, Rosaria. Thank you, Camille. You're off to your office. You too. Have a fantastic day, really. Thank you very much. Thank you all. I do too. So have a great day, everybody. Thank you so much for being on the call and for keeping me company throughout this hour. Otherwise, I would be recording this all by myself. Maybe you'd have less chatting in between, but this is a good way to share the knowledge as well. Take care, and we'll see you soon. Bye.